Opioid drug use and its costs are skyrocketing. How do you spell relief for a workers' comp system that may very well be leaving its injured workers behind? ALM's Gina Passarella has this.
I never meant to cause you any sorrow. I never meant to cause you any pain.
Pain. When Americans experience it, more and more they're being prescribed opioid drugs, such as fentanyl. But now, many are becoming addicted, or worse, like Prince, dying.
On this opioids issue, this is an area where the incidence of people dying from overdoses is actually spiking.
And nowhere has that pain been felt more acutely than by those hurt on the job.
But they get into these situations where they're injured and they go to a doctor and they get on these prescription drugs, and I can't tell you how high the percentage is of when we're trying to settle a case, we can't cut off their medical because they are scared out of their mind to not have these pills anymore.
The biggest trend I'm seeing is the wreckage of lives with overprescription of opiates. When you see someone going in for a back strain and they're getting a 30-day supply of Percocet, I think that's just wrong.
That's why there is a movement in many states, including Pennsylvania, to change the laws, to require all medical care for injured workers be consistent with nationally recognized evidence-based medical treatment guidelines. The hope is it will cut opioid casualties and lower corporate and insurance company costs. It's that last part that makes claimants' attorneys skeptical.
So House Bill 1800 is a bad thing. It's bad for doctors and it's bad for injured workers because the standard is not what a cookie-cutter model holds for your healing based on your injury. That's a decision between you and your doctor and his or her expertise and experience.
Another growing concern, studies that portray state workers' comp systems as out of touch, failing injured workers, where businesses keep cutting comp benefits to pad their bottom line.
The Department of Labor did a report recently, and what they found was that in a lot of states they've enacted laws that have sort of shifted the cost away from the employer when an employee gets injured, and now that cost is being borne more by the workers themselves and the taxpayers.
Recent NPR and ProPublica investigations cite Tyson Food Company of using financial influence and political muscle to cut its comp costs. After Iowa's Workers' Comp Commissioner Chris Godfrey issued decisions against Tyson, Iowa's new governor Terry Branstad, supported by Tyson in the election, demanded Godfrey's resignation. Since he could not fire the commissioner, he slashed his salary by 30%.
A lot of these big employers are very powerful lobbyists, so they've been able to sort of lobby their local governments, their state governments to shift these costs.
That's why some, including the Department of Labor, are calling for federal oversight to ensure states protect injured workers. But it's a tough question.
I defend companies whose workers are injured. My clients who are in more than one state would love to see a federal standard because think of the expense to them to train and to have quality control for 50 different workers' compensation laws. But do you force every other state to be under federal jurisdiction, or do you leave it to the unions and the workers and the businesses in those individual states to work out another grand bargain unique to that state's issues?
The Department of Labor's conclusion is clear. The workers' comp system is outdated, and states are falling behind in protecting injured workers. But not everyone sees a federal solution as a positive, and in all likelihood, the new Trump administration would agree. For the American Law Journal, I'm Gina Passarella.